I was taken aback, like many people, after the Charlie Kirk situation. To open your phone and automatically see someone get assassinated, it was a pretty, obviously, very shocking thing to happen. I found that obviously the action was shocking, and obviously the sadness of just watching someone die is part of it. Watching someone die needlessly over a conversation when historically in those sort of conversations, I've actually always liked the way Charlie holds himself. At least 9 times out of 10, he holds himself, I think, with integrity. He can disagree with people. They can disagree with him, but he doesn't make things personal. I've always appreciated that. He never really made it personal. He never resorted to calling names, labeling people. He stuck to the topic. He stuck to the problem and said what his beliefs were, and here's some stuff to back up his beliefs. What are your beliefs? And kind of compare the two and go from there, like civil discourse. However, this is rarely met with that side of things, with the people who are more interested in attacking and acting defensively or emotionally than actually sticking to the facts and the topic. Because when you've got nothing to cling to, you make it personal. You label, you try to discredit them as a person. Because that's the tactic now. It's not to say respectfully that you disagree. It's to say you are wrong because, and you are an such and such phobe, any racist, misogynist, etc., fascist, Marxist, whatever. And basically, because of those reasons, I don't need to argue with you because you are below me, because you are not worthy of conversation or civility. And that's just the way it's played now. And it leaves a lot wanting because there's no actual civil discourse and you can disagree with people. Anyway, coming back, what I found really shocking was that even more so than watching it happen was watching people celebrate his death. I've had a few days off from working on projects, and I was really affected by that. That really bugged me because I saw people that I'm close to celebrate his death, and that really upset me because they're my friends, and I know they're good people at their heart. But to celebrate someone's death, there's clearly something that's gotten in the way of their humanity. And I don't mean just these people. I mean anyone who's celebrating someone else's death. Because ultimately, you can disagree with someone. You can think that someone's a bad person, but you don't have to wish death on them. The same thing happened with Trump when he was shot. People were saying, oh, so close. It could have been so good, And I was just thinking, man, like the level of hatred you have for someone to wish death upon them just because you disagree. You may disagree with them as a person or politically, but you disagree with them enough to want them to die. I can't I can't relate to that because I've always grown up with treat others how you want to be treated, love first, regardless, and love unconditionally. And you can still love the person, but you don't have to love what they do. I've always grown up with that stuff. And I know that not everyone grows up with those sorts of things, or even those who do, they may not practice or they may not want to practice. But it's those sorts of things where I think as a society, the division's gotten to a point where it boils over to that. The division's gotten to a point where you've dehumanized the other side enough that they're not worthy of your humanity. They're not worthy of compassion or empathy or sympathy. Like, how is Charlie Kirk's wife and 2 young kids not worthy of that? I can't think of a more traumatic thing than that happening, really, because those kids are going to grow up with footage of their dad being murdered. That's accessible. That was everywhere. And it was on Instagram. Like, it's crazy to me. And to not feel for the kids, to not feel for his wife, to not feel for him as a person. You don't have to like the person. You don't have to like how he does things. You don't have to like his stance on things. But to not see them as human and to celebrate their death is something that I think that's a really dangerous precedent, because ultimately we're all going to think differently to each other. We're different people. And as different people, we will think differently. We will act differently. We will communicate differently. Does that mean that we're worthy of death, or you're worthy of death, or I'm worthy of death because we disagree? Of course not. So this is almost like a boiling point for that, I think. Because I find that the people who speak more about equality, more about acceptance, are the ones that are so venomous when it comes to these sorts of things. And that doesn't matter what side you're on, whether you're left or right or conservative or not conservative, etc. But if you're doing this, you know that you're doing this. You know that you're celebrating the end of someone, and the humanity is gone. Because we are all human. We are all flesh and blood. We are all children. We are all parents. We are all brothers and sisters. You don't have to always like your brothers and sisters, but you don't revel in their death. I found that really shocking, because I found people that I really care for celebrate the death of someone, full stop. I found that very shocking. Then the other thing was, I share most views, very similar views, or most of the similar views with Charlie. Most of his stances. I'm a Christian. I believe in God. I am pro-life. I am pro-people. I am pro... I guess I am pro-connection. I'm not pro-division. And I feel like because I share those similar things and I communicate them, I think, in a gentle, gracious, caring way, and I'm fine to disagree with other people, and we can just disagree. We can just feel differently. We can just believe differently in different things. But if you're wishing death on someone who feels the same as me, it's like you're wishing death upon me. Because I'm like, does that mean I'm worthy of being killed? Does that mean when I die, you'll celebrate my death? That was a really difficult thing to struggle with, to wrestle with, because that sticks. I think that societally, let this be the boiling point. Let this be the point where we all go, you know what? We are too easily divided. We are too readily divided. We're divided on everything. Everything has been made an issue of. Things that weren't an issue are now an issue. Things are fed to us in order to divide. We're meant to be divided on sex, gender, race, religion, politics. Like, there's just no more room. Then there's stances on different things that are going on in the world. And if you don't agree with what I believe, then you're an evil person. And I don't think most people are evil. But I do think nowadays, most people are so divided, and there's so much propaganda, and there's so much shaping and molding of minds, that now it went from you can agree to disagree, and still be an okay person, still be a good person, to now, if you disagree with me, you're my enemy. And I don't think that's true. I don't think we're all enemies. I don't think that just because we feel differently, we are enemies or we should hate one another. I feel like we can think and feel differently and still be friends, be partners, be family. It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't be a thing where we're all at each other's throats. We're all waiting to criticize or to reject one another, to turn our backs on one another. I've always felt this, and that's why I think I found this particularly difficult, because I know that it's been going this way more over the last probably 10 years, maybe 5 to 10 years, definitely 5. But I feel like this is a boiling point, and I really hope that this is it, that there's no more boiling to be done, that this can be it, that this can be the moment that we all go, you know what, that's crazy, we need to calm this down. He's a human, I'm a human. The lady on the train who was stabbed for no reason is a human, and that was an evil action. It doesn't matter what race you are, it doesn't matter what you believe. Evil is evil and good is good. And if you are acting cruel and evil and all these other things, that's just what it is. And vice versa, it doesn't matter. You can still be a good person and be anything, like be anything else. You don't have to be white or black or Asian or anything. Like, you can be a bad person and you can be a good person regardless of that. So I just think, bring it back to the person, who they are at their core. Because ultimately, that's what it comes down to. You can be an amazing person and feel completely different to me, and I can feel completely different to you, and I can still be a good person. The division that goes on and is being taught everywhere, the news, and how it shapes you to think differently on different issues. It shaped people who didn't get the COVID vax as dangerous, as potential weapons, even though if you've got the vax, you're meant to be safe. So then how are the people without it meant to hurt you? It's all these different things where it's like, it's just divide, divide, divide. And it's giving you tips on how to not invite these people to dinner, for Christmas dinner. And then you've got, here's how to view these people, here's how to view those people. And here's why you're to blame, or your race is to blame, or your heritage is to blame. Even if it's things that are unrelated. And then people are divided. And then the people who are being separated or rejected, they're obviously going to go further and further away and be like, society doesn't want me. I'm just going to tuck my head away and become more isolated. And then if we're isolated, that can lead to other things too, where people are more insular and get in their heads more and more depressed or anything. And I just don't think it's worth all of this. I think you can feel differently on an issue and still be nice and still be a good person, still treat others with kindness. I don't think you need to celebrate death. I don't think you need to spit on someone who's on the opposite side of a protest. I saw that in Australia recently. A young woman spat on an elderly lady who, she was walking for a cause, and the young lady was walking against the cause. And the older lady was trying to talk to her, and the lady just pulled down her mask and spat at her. And I just think how little love is in your heart to do that. And I don't think she's born that way. I don't think she's born without love. I don't think she's made with that. I think it's been shaped. And I think we can shape it the other way too, because I think that's how we're made. I think we're divinely made, and I think we can be loving and kind and humble and gracious. We can show grace to something that we don't understand. How come you feel this way on an issue? How come you feel this way? I feel so differently on this, and this is where I'm coming from. Where are you coming from? Try to understand. Trying to understand and show grace doesn't mean you have to believe. Doesn't mean you have to accept. It just means you're listening. It just means that there's a conversation going back and forth that you can have that is okay. That you can learn to understand. You don't have to accept or practice or imbibe on a ground level, but it's respect. I know that I have had amazing experiences with people who feel similarly to me, and the fact that we can agree to disagree, we can listen to each other, you can feel differently, I can feel differently, and we can still show respect to one another and chat and try to understand and see the common ground and if there is any or not. And despite that, how we can still treat each other well. I feel closer to those people that I've had these civil disagreements with over major issues. But unfortunately, it's becoming more rare. It was always a little bit rare because I think people are very fired up, but now it's like I'm fired up to the point of hatred, division and hatred. It's been allowed to be viewed as okay to hate. And I don't think that's healthy for the person hating or being hated, because it tears you up inside. You're just angry and bitter and fueled by something we shouldn't have fuel from. We shouldn't be taking fuel from hate. So I just want to put it out there to not divide and to not hold yourself back from being a person who's human and show the humanity and compassion for a tragic loss. I wouldn't be celebrating if Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or anyone else who's super left or super anything died, because they're dead. Like, I don't want anyone to die over that or anything. I wouldn't take pleasure in having someone else die just because we disagree. And I don't think we should be doing that as a people. So check your humanity. Check where it stopped. Check if you're doing those things, check why it's there. What do you believe about people on that side? Do you believe that everybody who doesn't agree with you on ABCDE issues is a bad person, is an evil person, and deserves to die? And if you think that that justifies, the murder justifies, then that means that if we both have that, if both parties have that stance, then that means it's okay to kill one another, and whoever comes out last is the winner. That's insane. That is civil war. And this is what it'll lead to if it continues. See the humanity in one another. Humble yourself. Show grace. Treat others how you want to be treated. It's someone's father. It's someone's son. It's someone's brother. It's someone's friend. That's what it is. Everyone's got a human side to them. Everyone's a human. See that side and act from that, because otherwise we're animals. So I want to hop on and say that, because I don't want our humanity to go. I don't want our compassion to go. And I don't think it's a worthy cause or cost. Check yourself, humble yourself. If you're doing that, you know it's wrong. You ultimately know it's wrong. You can justify it all you want. You can say, oh, it's okay because, but don't let your biases get in the way of you being a human and being a person and being kind, because that's what's happening right now. So that's me today.